Hi, I'm Melissa Mortenson from Polka Chair, and I am here in the Fat Quarter Shop Studios today to show you how to make a reading pillow. If you're wondering what this is, let me tell you a little bit of a history behind what it is and why I made it. I've been blogging since about 2008, and about then I needed a gift for my two nephews for Christmas. They were 3 and 5 at the time. So I took some polar fleece and made a pillow, and I put a pocket in the front of it because I thought, oh, that would be cute because they can, you know, snuggle up with it, live in somewhere that's cold. And I put a couple books in the front and a little flashlight so that they could read, you know, under the covers. And I gave it to them. My sister told me how much they liked the pillow. Then I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to remake this and do it again and do it with some cute quilting cotton fabric. And I went ahead and posted it on my blog. And a lot of people really resonated with it and they really liked the project. So as of today, it's one of my most popular projects on my site. Some people call it like a pocket pillow, some people call it a reading pillow, journal pillow. But what the idea is, it's just a fun pillow that has a pocket on the front, so you can stash books and pens and journals. I know, like, my kids, when they like lug things around the house, they've always got like a pillow and a blanket, and then they've got like their phone or a book, and they're like dropping everything as they're walking throughout the house. So the kind of idea behind it was you could just kind of stash everything in the pillow and grab the pillow and go. So today I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make this pillow. You can use fat quarters if you want. You are going to have 2 pieces of fabric for the pocket of the pillow, and then 2 pieces of fabric for the pillow, assuming you're just going to put a plain back on it, but we'll talk about some of the options for the back later on. The 2 pieces for the pocket of the pillow are 18 inches by 11 inches. So you're going to cut those 2 pieces 18 inches by 11 inches. So that's how you can use a fat quarter, because if the fat quarter is 18 by 22, and it's really close to true to size, you can cut it in half and get 2 pieces that are 11 by 18. And then for the front and the back of the pillow, you're going to need 2 pieces of fabric that are 18 inches by 18 inches square. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put aside the front of and back of the pillow pieces, and we're going to work on the pocket. Another thing that's fun to do with this one, if you have an embroidery sewing machine or you have like a machine that cuts out vinyl, it's really fun to go ahead and personalize the pillows and put someone's name on it or a fun phrase or something like that too. So what you're going to do is, on one of the pieces for the pocket, you're going to add a layer of fusible fleece. It's just a medium weight fusible fleece, and you're going to go ahead and iron it on there. Now, this pillow has piping on it. You can leave the piping off. It's totally up to you. The construction is the same. It's just like an extra added little finishing touch that I like, but it's not that hard to put it on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. I'm going to really briefly touch on adding piping to the pillow, but we have a whole video on just on piping if you need more help with how to insert the piping. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to measure the piping, and I'm going to cut it just a little bit bigger than the width of the pillow, and I'm working with the piece that has the interfacing on the back. And you can use pins, you can use binding clips, you can even use glue. And what you're going to do is you're just going to pin the piping down so that, and this is 1/2 inch piping, so that the edge of the piping, the raw edge of the piping, is even with the raw edge of the pillow. And after you get doing this for a while, you can even do this without pinning. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so after I've got this pinned, I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, and you need to either use a cording foot or a zipper foot. I have a cording foot, so I'll just kind of show you that real quick. It's got a groove down the center to allow the cording or piping to go through. So every piping foot has different configuration based on the brand of sewing machine you have. For this particular foot, I need to move my needle to the right 3 clicks, and then I am just aiming to stitch on the stitching line that's already there. Okay, after you've stitched the piping down on that edge, you're going to take your pillow lining piece, which is like the part of the pillow lining pocket that doesn't show, it's the lining, and you're just going to go ahead and you're going to pin this on top of the pillow Same thing, raw edges even. You can use binding clips, you can use pins. Sometimes I think when you're dealing with thicker fabrics like this, it is a little easier to use a binding clip. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna move over to the sewing machine and we're gonna stitch it again. Okay, when you stitch this, you want to have the side up that you can see the stitching line that you added from the previous, when you attach the piping. So that's how you know if you've got the piping in the right spot, is you're gonna stitch on the same stitching line. So if you stitch it on this side, you can't really see where to go. But if you stitch it on this side, you can see your stitching line. So you can just like line yourself right up with that. So after you've done that, you can go ahead and turn your pillow piece right side out. So there you can see you've got a nice clean edge for your piping, and then we're just gonna come over to our iron and just really quickly just do a simple, just steam that seam really well. And then the last thing you want to do to the pocket before you start assembling the pillow is you're just going to go over to your sewing machine and you're just going to run a top stitching line, just using your regular sewing machine foot down the edge of the top of the pocket on the fabric, not on the piping. And then after you do that, you're ready to go ahead and start putting the pillow together. Okay, after you've stitched your pocket and you've top stitched the top, you're ready to start putting the front of the pillow together. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take that piece of 18 by 18 fabric that has a fusible fleece on it, and you are going to put the pocket on top of the pillow just the way it's going to sit on the pillow. So this is the right side of the pillow and the right side of the pocket. And then we are going to baste. So before I baste, I like to go ahead and just use a couple of binding clips to hold it in place. I think it works a lot better than pins when you're dealing with a little bit thicker fabric. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the machine, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to set my machine on a long stitch length, like a 6, usually set it to the highest it'll go, and then I'm just going to run a basting stitch from the top of the pocket to the bottom of the pocket on both sides. You don't need to baste the bottom, just baste these two sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. The seam allowances for my pillow are going to be 1/2 inch all the way around. The basting stitch, I usually just do it close to the edge because it's not going to show, and if it does show, you can just unpick it really easily after you've sewn the pillow together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add piping to the front of the pillow. You want to do that after you've got the pocket on the front. Like I said, you don't have to add the piping, but I do think it makes a really nice finishing touch on the outside of the pillow. Before you start attaching the piping, sometimes when you sew a lot of layers of fabric together like this, you'll start to notice that maybe like the edges don't line up as much. That's fine when you're sewing things like this. I know with quilting you absolutely don't want that, but I've got like little bits here that are off. It's not gonna make that big a difference, but if you have anything off by quite a bit, I would go ahead and use your rotary cutter and just trim that even so that when you start sewing the pillow together, you don't like end up with like a hole in the bottom of your pillow or something. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start at the bottom. I always start at the bottom because when you join it, you can kind of tell where it's joined, and I like to hide that. So we're gonna put again, the raw edge of the piping even with the raw edge of the fabric. Like this, and I'm going to use binding clips for this point, and then I'm going to show you how I go around a corner, and then I'm going to show you a trick that sometimes I like to do. So when I get to a corner, I get to the corner, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I am just going to cut that at an angle and just bend that around the corner like that. Another thing you can do, like if you're really new to piping, sometimes I will put binding clips down and I will use a glue pen, and I just go like this, and then I glue it where I want it to go. And then you don't have to worry about things slipping or things getting off. It just stays right there until you stitch it down. So you're going to go all the way around the front of the pillow, come back to the front, overlap the ends and join them, and then I'll go ahead and show you the next step. And just to remind you again, if you want more help with piping, we have a video just on piping that goes into a lot more detail on this step. Okay, I've gone ahead and I've attached the piping to the outside of the pillow. At the bottom, I overlapped the piping, cut away the excess. I used 2.5 yards of piping, 1/2-inch piping for this pillow front. So if you're gonna go ahead and make it, you need about 2.5 yards. Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to just put a regular pillow back on this. The one that I have here, I'll show you, has a zipper back, but we'll have a whole video on just adding the zipper. So I have a piece of fabric that's the same size as my front piece, 18 by 18. And all I'm gonna do is come over here and I'm gonna use my binding clips. And I am going to clip it all the way around, right sides together, super straightforward. I'm gonna go ahead and clip it all the way around, and then on the bottom, I'm gonna leave myself probably a good 12 inches open. So I'm gonna sew all the way around, but I'm not gonna sew this section closed. And I'm gonna do the same trick again. I'm not gonna sew on this side, I'm gonna sew on this side, and I'm gonna sew right on top of the stitching line that I already put in, so I know when I turn the pillow right side out, the piping's in the right spot. So you're gonna stitch around that, and then all you have to do to finish it is turn the pillow right side out, slip in your pillow form, and then go ahead and just hand stitch this bottom seam closed. So that's how to make that, just basic pillow back. And then this one, like I said, has a zipper on the back if you want to change it out. And we'll go ahead and show you how to add a zipper back to any size pillow. It doesn't even matter what size pillow you're making. So we'll show you that. And I hope you liked it. Give it a try. There's more information on my blog. There's links below to help you out. Send me a message if you have a question, and thanks for having me.